Madam Chairman, thank you very much. I want to be sure that Chief Conte, that Attorney General Rosen, and Secretary of Defense Miller understand that what they're going through with this hearing would be unparalleled if Republicans were in the majority. We ask witnesses to come up, we take their testimony, we ask them questions. We do not try to badger them or bully them. We do not try and make assertions that are untruthful and then get them to go down this stream of unfair consciousness when they have already agreed that they would come and answer. I think all three of you have been forthright about the answers that you have been given, but it doesn't fit the narrative that this Democratic majority would like. And so they want to argue with you and pin you down and then impugn you. I'm embarrassed that they would have to try and remind you that you're under oath, as if you would not be forthright about what you wanted to answer.
I object.
You can object all day. So what does that mean?
I will object all day because you're
Madam Chair, we haven't interrupted your witness.
Time belongs to the gentleman from Texas.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairman. Mr. Rosen, Mr. Miller, and Mr. Conte, I want you to know that I believe that your professionalism and duty to this country came into play not just that day, but it continues today and in your service. And because it's not shaping the narrative that they want to ask the questions to have you conform and then battle you over your professional response. I want to say this, Mr. Conte, it was very obvious to me that the systems that were in place then need to be reviewed again. Not just about how you might be participatory as a request, as I understand it, that would be through the police board, but also, Mr. Miller, as it relates to the guard. Do you have anything that you would like to provide us that might further provide us information about how we would streamline that? Or do you think that that process and procedures, not whether the police did what they were supposed to do, but the procedures over getting the guard and the police department, Metropolitan Police Department engaged? Do you have any feedback, Mr. Miller, about that?
I think this is really an important question, and I'm glad you asked, because I thought that was the purpose of the hearing today.
Me too, sir.
Get lessons learned and have a constructive discussion. I've been involved with when a national security special event is established, as it was in advance of the inauguration, and it's done in other large public gatherings. And that process seems to work very well for meshing the state, local, and federal entities together. I think that's a good model and something that could probably be teased out and needs to be refined in regards to lessons learned from January 6th.
Okay, but the process as it exists, you're very comfortable with that you have noted your longtime service to this nation, not only in war, but here in the United States, and you're satisfied that that process, though being updated, and of potential threats, but that you're happy with that process.
I'm happy with the process, and it comes down to the Department of Defense should only be used as a last resort for domestic law enforcement. And we can argue about whether that occurred, and it certainly did occur, obviously, on January 6th. But then that was what I was trying to describe, was just the mechanics. I kind of was criticized pretty robustly on that, the mechanics of military operations, and not to be condescending or pedantic, but it takes time to make sure that we're taking care of our soldiers, getting them to the right place, coordinating with Chief Conte, coordinating with Capitol Hill Police and all the other entities. And that's what I was trying to highlight.
Yes, sir, and I believe that was done. Chief Conte? That question is, now looking back, are there anything procedurally wise that you would expect this committee to look at that might need to be updated or changed from your perspective, sir?
Yes, from my perspective, I think that the District of Columbia should not be like, we should not be different from any other state. I think that the mayor of the District of Columbia should have the authority to call up and deploy the National Guard. We would still be required to coordinate. We would still require all the coordination that has to happen to properly deploy them, make sure that they're on mission and where they're supposed to be doing the things that need to be done. But I don't think that it requires the consent of the President of the United States or Secretary of Defense, and no disrespect to the Honorable Secretary, but I don't think it requires that level of approval to deploy people to traffic posts or crowd management type assignments when that's not required anywhere else in our country.
Yes, sir,
Gentleman's
but we
time is
were
required.
specifically reference to the
gentleman's
Capitol.
time is expired.